Fitzpatrick takes the snap, drops back, lobs it back right corner. Decker! He's got it! Touchdown! Eric Decker scores! And the Jets have won it in overtime!
This is the Jet Take with Ben Blessington and Kyle Fahey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Jet Take. I'm your host, Ben Blessington. As always, I'm joined with Mr. Kyle Fahey. Kyle, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well, Ben. We got a special caller on the line. The draft is 8 days away, I believe.
That was my birthday.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, let's not brag.
For my birthday present, I get to watch the Jets get a nice top prospect, so I'm feeling good. Yeah. Well, what else we got? We got the Jets are back, and it's a workout. So officially, the new year is starting to get underway and stuff. And we, as you mentioned, we have to draft in a little over a week. And yeah, we're hitting the most exciting time probably of this show is right around towards that draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. It's a second. Besides that, Kyle, I think we're good. So let's go ahead and actually go ahead and bring on Mr. Patton. Quinton, buddy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. What about yourself?
Quinton, can you hear me? All right, sweet.
Yes, sir.
We're good. We're good. Yeah, we got to talk to you a bit in the before the show started, and Quinton, you were telling us about the difference in the air between New York and San Francisco. That's been pretty funny. So, but I know I asked you this before the show started, but how's the move been from San Francisco? Obviously, you played for the 49ers for a few years, and now you switched to the Jets. How has that move? How has that move been for you? Has it been an easy transition, or has it been more of a difficult one?
I mean, I won't say it's easy or hard because I still have my place out there right now until I move all my stuff. And as soon as I signed to the Jets, I just grabbed a couple of items, a couple of outfits, got my cleats, and just came right on out here, just ready to work.
Priorities.
Hello? I can't hear y'all.
Yeah, I guess we must have lost Ben.
Can you hear me?
Ben, you cut in a little there.
Yeah, it might be my internet connection.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hope it doesn't mess up. If it does again, Kyle, feel free to take the reins. But yeah. Quinton, back to what we were saying. I know you talked about it a little bit with David before the show, but what's been your first impressions of Coach Todd Bowles? Only, even though you've only probably met with him a few times as the year's just starting to get underway, but what have been your impressions of him?
Just a real person. First off and foremost, he's just a real person. He's going to tell you how it is. He's not going to shy away, not going to hide nothing from you as playing from him, and that's what I really respect, that he's just going to tell you straight up and be a straight-up guy to you.
Yeah, that seems to fit the persona of Todd Bowles from what we've heard from the media. Obviously, we're not on the inside like you are, but, you're coming over here to New York. Like you said, you haven't even completely moved in. You just got a couple things that you had to bring over. What has it been like for you coming over? I see you got a lot of social media attention. Looks like a lot of the fans are reaching out to you, welcome you with open arms. What's it like? How are you feeling the love?
Yeah, I'm feeling the love from a new team and new fans, new city. It's just a breath of fresh air, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody just needs a second chance somewhere, somehow. It's just a breath of fresh air for me.
Absolutely. Ben, any questions?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to keep going there, Kyle. But yeah, obviously, I think a change of scenery might be good, and especially with this Jets team. Let's talk a little bit about this wide receiving core. Obviously, the Jets have a lot of young receivers. Brandon Marshall did leave the team in the offseason as he was released, and they have Eric Decker returning. But besides that, a lot of young guys like Quincy Enunwa, Robbie Anderson, Jerome Peak. What are your expectations this year to working with them? I know you've probably only met them again a few times, but how have your interactions been with them? And just trying to figure out who's going to do what and handle different responsibilities in that Jets receiving room. But what have been your first impressions of this new Jets receiving room? Because it's much different than the one back in San Francisco.
They're very talented. All of them are very talented. They're just eager to learn, just eager to get back on the field, and just eager to compete. And that's what I love the most, because they just want to compete out there. You know what I'm saying? They're not scared of nothing, nobody. They just want to get on the field and just show them what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jets fans are. Oh, sorry, Kyle. We're having some connection issues, but Kyle, go ahead, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we drafted a couple of those guys and signed them last year. Sharon Peak we drafted in the later round, 7th round. Jalen Marshall, the guy we undrafted free agent. So there are a couple young guys in the locker room. And, I don't know how much you've been talking with the guys in the locker room, but who are some of the guys who have been with the Jets that have come out and to say when you walked in, shook your hand to say, or made themselves open to you, if you need any advice coming to the new city and stuff?
I'm still trying to get everybody's names down packed, but Muhammad Wilkinson, I have a conversation with him pretty much every day in the training room and everything, and just around there. What's his name? Sheldon Williams, Big D tackle. I talked to him a lot, and I talked to Miles White. Miles White, we played at Louisiana Tech together, and we was also roommates. So that was kind of a comfort zone right there going in, just knowing that one of my best friends is on the team and is going to be a receiver with me and everything. But all the receivers, they done came in and welcomed me with open arms and, just try to make me feel at home.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, I think that's really key, is trying to get the team bonding and chemistry, and that's something that obviously has a big impact on success and stuff. But it's good to hear that the team has welcomed you in with open arms. Let's talk about this free agency process, though. Going back a little bit, what made New York attractive to you to come and play for Coach Bowles? What was it? The city? Was it the offer, or was there a particular draw to the Jets? What was the most attractive part about coming to New York?
The most attractive part is, you got big dreams. You got to come to New York. You got to come to the Big Apple just to prove yourself, because I know people here, they're hard-working people, and they just get the job done. No ifs, ands, buts about it. No complaints, no nothing. And I feel like this is the perfect place to prove myself. And also looked at the coaching staff and everything, and Todd Bowles, and bringing over the offensive coordinator, Coach John Morton, that coached me in San Francisco, that brought me in 2013. He was my first receivers coach. So who better to know me than, Coach Johnny Moe? Because, other teams, they might look at me on the field and look at the stats and everything, but do they really know me? Do they know how I practice? Do they know how I preparate for the game and everything, and just everything like that. So Johnny Moe had a big part of it, and just talking to people like Anquan Bolden, old teammates, and just like Michael Crabtree, I'm just talking to them about the whole little free agency thing, and they just told me, go with my instincts, think about it, just think what's the worst that can happen. Take a chance, bet on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you chose New York. I'm glad you followed your heart to say. You mentioned the relation to your wide receiver coach. Now, have you met with our new offensive coordinator, John Morton, at all? I know it's a little early in the process, but have you met him at all?
He was my first receivers coach in San Francisco. Yeah, I always go in there and talk to Johnny Moe pretty much every day.
All right, well, that's great. Well, he's going to be basically controlling this offense this year, so expecting good things from you that way. All right, talking about other coaches, we brought in a new quarterback coach, Jeremy Bates, and we have a little bit, of a quarterback decision to make this upcoming. Have you talked with any of those guys yet? Christian Hackenberg, Bryce Petty, Josh McCown?
I talk to all of them each day. Petty and McCown and C-Hack, what I call them. You know what I'm saying? The young guy. But I'm just trying to make their job easier.
Yeah, I think they would definitely appreciate that, knowing what they're going to have to go into training camp this year and definitely fight for that starting role. Now, let's talk about a little bit more about the quarterbacks. Have you thrown with them at all? Or has this primarily just been workouts? Because it's not necessarily clear at this point as the fan's perspective. What have you guys been doing in there?
We just work out. What y'all read is what we do. You know what I'm saying? We keep everything in-house over here with the Jets. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to let nothing out, but we up there, we working hard.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what you got to do to stay in shape throughout the off season. I imagine that's pretty hard. Now, I saw you on a couple of your Instagram lives. You're in there in that steam room. Is that a big part of your workouts?
Yeah, you got to get in that steam room and sweat some of that bad stuff up out of you sometimes. You know, sometimes you eat too much junk food, too much candy, this and that, and you got to go in there. That's another form of really conditioning because it gets your breathing right, open up your pores and everything. So, yeah, the steam room and sauna is a big part of it.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And man, just because we almost glossed. Did
we lose Ben again?
No, we good. But y'all went out. I didn't hear the question. And then.
All right. Well, I think Ben's connection is a little unstable, so I don't think you heard all of that question. But I'll just go into my next. Yeah, I'll just go into my next question. We're really sorry about that. Ben's connection's usually really good. He's out there in the mountains of Oregon, so it's really hard. So it's hard for him sometimes, but it's usually pretty good. All right. So
you know what Travis Scott say? Ain't no service in the mountains, man. You got to come down.
Yeah, and you know Travis Scott, Portland, that new song with Drake. That's actually very close to where Ben lives. So. When you walked into the Jets facility, we've heard a couple things about it being one of the really good facilities of the NFL. Now, I know you were out there in San Fran, and they got those really nice Nike equipment and stuff out there just because of the relation to Phil Knight. But what's it like in this Jets facility?
Oh, man, it's big. You're going to need a hover around to walk around in it. I got to get there an hour early just to make it from special teams meeting to the offensive meeting. That's how big it is. But it's real nice, though. It's very nice. It's up to par. It's one of the best ones in the NFL that I've seen. Matter of fact, I only seen 2. So, hey, it's up there.
Yeah. And did we get Ben back?
All right. I think my connection is good.
Yeah,
I think I might have fixed it. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, no, we're having a bit of a storm here up in Portland. But I did hear what you said. I was gonna touch on John Morton. I know we briefly glossed over it. And just Kyle again, if I do cut out again, just take the reins and I'll go just research manually. But you touched on how John, a little bit about your relationship. Are you excited for him to be calling your play far back? Do you think he'll put more trust in you than maybe some other wide receivers and expect you to be up to par? So just talk a little bit about John Morton and his impact on this upcoming season for you.
Coach Johnny Moe, that's what I call him. He's just I'm not going to say he's going to lean more my way or nothing because Johnny Moore is a fair coach, and what he looks for is hard-working, blue-collar guys out there. So the best person is going to play. There's no favoritism, none of this, none of that. If I'm not cut out for the job, he's going to put somebody in that gets the job done, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So Johnny Morton is just a hard-nosed working coach. He works hard in what he does, and he got the job for a reason because he works hard at what he does, and he's one of the best at what he does.
Well, that's certainly what Jets fans want to hear. I mean, I think he was one of those names that a lot of Jets fans hadn't heard about at first, but that's good to hear from somebody who does know him. And now talking about this upcoming season, what are your expectations for yourself? Do you have any personal goals going into 2017?
Man, I'm all about the team. Whatever I do is what I do. But my biggest thing is just winning ball games from week to week. I don't worry about the whole season. I don't worry about this team, worry about that team. I play a one-game season every week.
And that's good to hear. I mean, I think the Jets. I think Jets fans definitely want to see some more W's on the board than they did have last year. So it's good to hear about the team playing together. But so we touched a little bit about your personal goals and the chemistry in the locker room and even a coach, and we touched a little bit on the quarterbacks. And we'll stay away from the quarterbacks because that's a big trap for any new Jets offensive player. So Kyle, Quinton, let's talk a little bit more about this upcoming season and what you've done to prepare. How has this offseason been? I know you're back in the weight room with the team and stuff, but since the end of 2016 up until now, has there been anything else that you've thrown into your workout regimen, or even just how you prepare, how you sleep, how what do you do in your personal life that you're hoping might have a big impact on 2017?
Man, I just live day by day, and I wake up every morning like, man, it's a blessing to be in the NFL and to be an NFL player. But at the same time, I just think every day that I'm going to lose my job. You know what I'm saying? So I got to wake up and I got to do something else. You know what I'm saying? Something to get an edge. You know what I'm saying? Coach Johnny Moe, he used to tell me in San Fran about Jerry Rice this. Jerry Rice was always scared he was going to lose his job. And, you know what I'm saying, 3.5 years is the average years in the league. So you have to do something to get an edge in. I'm not getting no younger, and you know what I'm saying, if I don't get the job done, they're gonna bring somebody else in. So that's where I'm at. I'm in my life with this career. I have to get the job done no matter what it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they say it best when they say the NFL is a cutthroat business. You could literally lose your job in a week or over a drop ball, and I'm glad that you're so determined. I'm glad you're so determined to make the most out of it and make it last as long as you can, especially since you're with my team now. That definitely helps. You talked a little bit about having to go to special teams meetings. Let's talk about that. This is the second year for special teams coach Brent Boyer. Don't know how much you talked to him, but obviously you don't have to dive into plays or anything or specific assignments. But what are they going to have you doing on special teams? And if you have talked to Coach Boyer, what is he like?
Tell you the truth, I don't know, but whatever they need me to do, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I did watch a little bit of tape on you when we first signed you because I just wanted to see what type of player you are, what type of tenacity you had, and what I saw is that you were a great blocker downfield as a receiver, and I think that fits in with, as you call him, Johnny Moe's offense. They kind of like those wide receivers that block downfield, so I'm assuming that will definitely tie into your special teams play.
Yeah, you have to block downfield because you don't know what the running back does when the quarterback drops back and throws that deep ball to you. You don't know if the running back done had to step up and take one in the chin for you. So sometimes, well, not even sometimes, all the time, you have to help the running back out down the field.
Yeah, for sure. No, sorry, Kyle, to cut you off. But so Quinton, what would you say is the number one key for your success? And I know you talked about the big thing is the team's success, but for you to succeed on the field, and if you're succeeding on the field, I think that would definitely help towards the team's success. But what's the number one key for you to score touchdowns, get as many catches, help out the quarterbacks? Do you think it's something with having other receivers getting open and acquiring double teams? Do you think it's something in your off season? Is it in your preparation? Is it in the quarterbacks getting you the ball in time, stuff like that? What is the biggest key for you to succeed this upcoming year?
I think my biggest key to succeed is just me and how I just preparate and everything, because one thing about me that everybody knows in San Fran and whoever's been following me my college career, that I'm a ball player and I just make plays. So, and it doesn't matter if I'm catching the ball or, scoring a touchdown. I do just the little stuff like blocking downfield. You can block downfield, and that could be a big play, a big game changer. In the game as far as special teams. You block the right person on a punt return, you get a key block. Hey, that's 6. That turns the whole tide of the game, especially on special teams. So I'm just a ball player, and I just play ball. That's it. I can't put it no better than that. Then I just play ball.
Yeah, and I love hearing that from a player. I honestly do, because there's some guys out there who, a little bit of prima donnas, kind of all about themselves. I like how you want to help the team in any way you can, whether you're catching touchdowns or blocking 20 yards downfield to set up the running back.
Because if you think of it, the team success, all the other individual stuff is going to happen. If the team wins, everything else is going to happen. So you shouldn't worry about yourself. Well, I mean, when you was younger, you never worried about yourself playing football. You just wanted to go out there and play with your friends and move around, and you wanted your team to win. So you can go back like, hey, me and my homeboys, we won the game out there in the Little League. We won the championship. You never thought about, hey, I did this in the game. I did this when I was little. You know what I'm saying? So that's just type of player I am. That's how I was raised in football.
Yeah, well, and Quinton, just really quickly, just because you touched on it, how did you get into playing the sport of football? I mean, I would imagine you probably couldn't believe that it would take you this far into your career, and this is your job. But you mentioned playing football at a young age and just playing with your friends and stuff. But we've asked this a few other players that we've had on the show, and it's just always curious to see their responses. But how did you personally get into the sport of football?
Well, my whole family really played football, and my uncle was my first coach ever. And I started playing football at 4 years old. So that's how I got into football. I was watching my brother out there play, and I was like, I want to be out there. And my uncle was like, hey, okay, well, we're going to get you some soda pads and a helmet, and you got to go hit your brother. And I was crying and, what I'm saying, like, why I got to hit him out of everybody? And once I got done hitting my brother, I wasn't scared to hit nobody else.
Yeah, I imagine that would put a little bit of fear of God into you having to go and hit your brother. I imagine he was a little bit bigger than you at the time. Now that this is... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, he was bigger than me.
Yeah. But now that this is your career, you had to start, somewhere, and it all started with the draft process. And with the draft only 8 days away, as we mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, I just want to ask you how this draft process was for you. As fans, we see the combine. Nowadays it's a little bit advertised, but what's it like, running the 40 and doing stuff like that, and then hearing your name being called on TV one day, and knowing that your dream has, I don't want to say been completed, but you've got to the point where you can definitely start to finish it.
Oh, can you repeat the question? You're kind of breaking up just a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. What was it like throughout the whole draft process? The combine, hearing your name being called.
It was really stressful a little bit and tiring because you're flying here visiting with this team. You're flying here to visit that team. You still got to get a workout somewhere in there, and you have to be in tip-top shape. You have to be up and alert and paying attention to everybody. You have to remember this name, you have to remember that name. And then here comes the combine, where you got to get tugged and pulled on by the doctors, and you got to go take a whole bunch of tests that people don't see. See, people just think the combine is just you just go up in there and you run a 40, you go run routes, and they don't know that the NFL put the college players through tests and physicals for a whole week. And the stuff that y'all see on TV, that's the last day. That's the last day after staying up all night, meeting with coaches and waking up early and taking physicals and getting pulled and tugged on by doctors, like I've been saying. And it's just a tiring time, but you would never take it back for nothing in the world because it's only one chance to have that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It was always my childhood dream, and I think I went more with the talking about football in my life, but, the window's not completely closed. Now, we hear a lot of things about weird questions and, while during the combine, interviews and stuff. Did you ever have any really weird questions when you were being interviewed or just like a weird experience?
I had a weird question. Matter of fact, it was a scout from San Francisco. He asked me, why did I have on green socks one day at practice at Louisiana Tech? And I was like, I don't know. The other ones was probably dirty.
Man, these guys will nitpick about anything, won't they?
I mean, they weren't nitpicking. I think they were just trying to see what my head was and just everything like that. But it comes with the territory. You got to be ready for any type of question, anything in this league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Quinton, I mean, we've talked about the draft process and the free agency process. For you, you've been through both. What would you say was probably...
Did you cut out again?
Or what? I guess which one between? Oh, sorry, I'm telling you, this storm up here in Portland is getting pretty bad. But no, sorry, I was saying you've been through the draft process, you've been through the free agency process. Which one for you was more difficult to get through? I mean, you mentioned, it sounds like pretty grueling to go through the NFL scouting combine. But even free agency, I know that's tough for a lot of guys because some guys don't know if they'll sign on with another team or where they'll be and where they'll have to move and stuff like that. I guess they're kind of similar in a way, but what would you say was more difficult for you?
I would say free agency is more difficult than the draft because in the draft, in the combine and everything, somebody wants you. In free agency, you don't know what people are thinking. You don't know if it's going to be your last down of ever playing football. You know what I'm saying? You don't know if, if people are interested. You don't know if you fit into people's schemes or nothing. So, you know what I'm saying? So you don't know where you're going to end up in free agency. So I feel like that is the most stressful part about the league. Unless unless you have the numbers to go behind your name.
No, yeah, for sure. I think just from the sounds of it, both definitely sound difficult. But you ended up in New York, and it seems like this will be a good fit. I know Jets fans are definitely excited to see you. Do you have a special message to Jets fans that you'd like to deliver to our listeners right now about this upcoming season? I think it's going to be a good fit. You have experience with the offensive coordinator. You've been in the league a few years. This is a change of scenery, and it seems like it might be a very good fit. But what would be your top message to Jets fans?
I'm just here to work. I'm here to win at any cost. I'm here to win.
That's a great quote. David, quote that.
I'm here to win.
Yeah, I love that mentality. So far I love everything about you. You seem like a really hard worker. And, you mentioned your relationship with John Morton. And,
for a while.
I'm sorry, Ben, what'd you say? I think he's cutting out again.
No, sorry, its connection is terrible.
Yeah, we're aware at this point. Going back to John Morton and, the offense that he runs, it's kind of that little bit of West Coast, a little bit of ground and pound thing. Like I said earlier, you have to block downfield if you want to be one of the really effective wide receivers and be helping the team 24/7 like you want to be. And, we have a couple really good running backs in our stable currently. Borderline Hall of Famer and Matt Forte, that one's up to opinion. I think he is, obviously. Might be a little biased, though. And then one of our younger guys who's really started turning around his career, and Bilal Powell. So what is your thoughts on, maybe adding another guy throughout the draft? At number 6, we could take a guy like Leonard Fournette.
That's not my job to even think about the draft and think about the running back room. I'm not paid to be doing all that thinking. I'm paid to go out there and doing my job as a receiver. My job is to make the quarterback's job easier and block downfield and catch the ball. That's my job. So that what they do, I stand behind them. Simple as that. I don't have no say so, and I don't think about no draft or who we picking or nothing. That's their job. That's what they get paid for. I'm here to play. They're here to coach, and they're there to manage. So I stay in my lane.
Fair enough.
That's always good to hear. All right, now we're going to go ahead and bring on our producer. He has a bit of a trivia question here for Quinton. So David, you can go ahead and bring yourself on, and let's see what David has in store. And David is.
We probably have to unmute him. Did we unmute him?
That is impressive. Wow, this is.
No, he's not unmuted.
Well, David is struggling with. We're having some technical difficulties. He can't put himself on, and we can't put him on. So we'll figure that out.
That's a problem.
That would be an issue. Quinton, while we figure that out, I guess we'll just keep talking. And we talked about your message for Jets fans, and we've talked all about pretty much your upcoming season. But I personally just want to say, I'm really excited to see you. You were one of my favorite signings, even though it's kind of an under the radar thing at first. As Kyle said, we both kind of watched the tape on you, and I remember when you got drafted and stuff. I think this should be a solid fit, and I know Jets fans are very excited to have you on board. I think especially your social media presence has been definitely a positive thing. But for sure, if you bring the boom on the field, I think you'll find that Jets fans will definitely fall in love. Kyle, have we fixed David's issue, or is he?
David's trying the old shut it off and restart it tactic. We'll see where that leads us. But Quinn, I do have a question for you. Why did you pick number 10 for the new number?
Because I couldn't get number 11.
I'm sure Robbie Anderson would have bartered with you for that one.
Hey, Robbie, you know what I'm saying? He made his plays, and I'm not here to come in and try to step on anybody's toes, no matter how young they are or how old they are. I treat everybody with respect, and a number doesn't make me.
Man, you have the best responses possible.
All right, I think we have David is ready and back. All right, David, really quickly, just because we know Quinton's got to go ahead and spit out your trivia question, then we'll go ahead and wrap things up.
Well, Mr. Patton, on behalf of the primetime producer of the Jet Take, I want to thank you for coming on and speaking to our two hardworking hosts. Good job here. But I just wanted to ask you a question of my own tonight. So, what NFL player did you actually room with in college?
David.
Miles White.
We have. Oh my gosh, that is a solid trivia question, but I think Quinton already knows the answer to that question. All right, well.
One of my best friends, Miles White. Hey, matter of fact, he upstairs right now. Oh, yeah.
Are we gonna have a double interview today? Is this what's about to conspire right now?
You say what? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we're still here. well, please tell Miles we send our regards. Quinton, it has been absolutely fantastic talking to you. Go ahead and give out your social medias for the fans that are not already following you. As we mentioned, you do have a pretty huge social media presence. So, Quinton, go ahead and shout out your Twitter and your Instagram so our listeners can give you a follow.
My Instagram is GeneralP_10. That's GeneralP_10. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and follow me. I follow back sometimes. And my Instagram is, it's still PattonBoy11, PattonBoy_11. I'm going to change that soon. So, but before I change it, it's still going to be PattonBoy_11. So give me a follow, please.
All right. Well, Quinton Patton, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Even though we've had some technical difficulties and some miscommunications, they're a little unorganized, but Quinton, we do appreciate you spending your time. You were an awesome interview, a super nice guy, and we wish you all the best this upcoming season.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for having me. Anytime.
Thanks, man. And that was Quinton Patton. We'll make sure to tweet out his social.
And there goes Ben again. Man, I'm telling you, man, you gotta move away. You gotta move away from that mansion in the mountains over there in Portland, man. The connection has not been favorable for you tonight. But I guess I'll take over for now.
Kyle, it's the storm.
I don't know about that. Is that your new wife? Is that your new internet provider? Is that what we're calling him now? Storm. All right, whatever.
This is all right. Whatever.
I guess I'll take over. I've been doing that the past couple of weeks anyway. We can take a deep breath. We're gonna go to our regular callers now that we don't have to try extremely hard to impress, because I think since they've called in, we've already left a pretty good lasting impression. We're gonna go on from main man, the boss. I don't know if anybody has that soundbite queued, but if we do. Watch your ears. I don't think we do, but let's just go ahead and bring him on. The man behind it all, Jay from nyjetsfans.com. Jay, thanks for coming on, man. What's going on?
What's up, guys? It's a nice interview you got there with Quinton Patton, man. That's That's a lovable guy, man. He's, I've been checking out his social media throughout the off season, and I'm definitely, I'm feeling a lot of things that he has to say. It's fun watching him, and he was on some Instagram lives. It's fun watching him kind of, joke around and kind of endear himself to the, to the new guys, and that's in the locker room and everything. So. That's all I got, man. Again, I was just impressed with a lot of his answers and everything. So great job with that stuff.
Yeah, it's actually funny how I got him on the show and the reason he was on here tonight. I was just chilling and I saw that he was doing an Instagram live stream. I said, hey, I'll go check this out, see who our new player is. And he was telling some jokes, and there were like 20 people in there. Nobody was really commenting, so I shoot my shot, or, I took it, and it worked out pretty well. Yeah. He said, yeah, man, I'll come on, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is one up over Ben right here, and that led to tonight. But, Jay, let's go into the topic. There hasn't been a lot of news out of the, Jets circle. We've heard some rumors today about the draft, and I guess we'll start with this one. I'm sure you're aware of it by now, because you're pretty popular, and you read a lot of things on Twitter. Possible trade scenario, or a trade talk between the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. We send our 6th overall pick, and in return we get their 12th overall pick, their 33rd, and a 4th or a 5th round pick. What are your thoughts on that? How do you think it could possibly affect the team?
Look, I take these past 3 weeks, it's just enough is enough already with the rumors and the linking this guy here and this guy's in for a look and this guy's in for a look, and it's like every day that they'll link another player, another trade, another thing to it's like somebody has to come out with something different for the day so people have something to read, so you have something to click, and it's like it's getting, to be a little much at this point. For me personally, I love the draft itself, but it probably sounds a little contradictory because I have, we have the website and, people are writing draft articles. I know people really like reading that stuff. It's just, to me, I don't love it so much. I just think wake me up on draft day, give me, let's see who we draft. Let's see who, if a trade actually happens, then, discussing it. Because we've been discussing, all along, ever since Max said he'd like to trade down, who would be potential trade partners and who would be, what would be a good trade. And it's funny because, we've been talking about that trade on Jets Twitter, and for weeks, I feel like. And then all of a sudden, some guy, posts, there's the Jets and Browns are talking. And somebody else posts, the Jets and Browns aren't talking. That's just a rumor. And it's like, all smoke screens, it's like, the Jets are going to draft a quarterback, the Jets are going to draft Fournette, the Jets are going to draft Hooker, the Jets are going to draft tight end. It's like, it just doesn't stop, so it's like, to me, it makes for fun reads and fun discussions, but, I don't put any truth into any of these rumors until I actually see, Schefter come out and report that it's actually happened, and then, then we have something to talk about. So that's just, that's where I'm at with this side of the draft. We have 8 days left until it comes. It can't come any sooner as far as I'm concerned because, it's really going to ramp up now in the next few days. At least tomorrow we have the schedule release to talk about, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that will definitely be fun to look forward to. And, I think what you said about Schefter, I'm pretty sure that's the 11th commandment. Unless Schefter says it, it's not true. I'm pretty sure that's set in stone for the NFL.
Yeah,
right, boys.
That's pretty much the case.
All right, Jay, I'm hoping my internet's working. I think it is.
Yep,
I hear you.
All right. All right, here we go. Wow. It's been a while, Jay. How's it over in New Jersey? Everything's good, Jay?
Can't complain, man. Everything's good except that I almost broke something when I heard your boy Dave call himself the primetime producer. There's only one primetime producer in the NY Jets fan family, and that's our good friend Kevin from Let's Talk Jets.
David, you're fired.
If he wants to be the primetime producer, he needs to earn those stripes, man. So before he calls himself that, we gotta give him a different nickname. We can't have everybody going around being the primetime producer. So
can it be? Can it be waffle related?
Yeah, he could be King Waffles or something like that. We can give him that nickname, or we can give him something else. I love Dave, man, but he can't be the primetime producer. We can't have. It's like having two guys on the Jets going around wearing the same jersey number. It just doesn't fit. It can't do it.
Hey man, I think we just gotta organize our nicknames. But Jay, glad to talk to you. We haven't talked in a while. Let's talk about the draft. I know you guys started it. Talked about the smoke screens, and I'm on the same boat as you, Jay. I do not buy anything until that clock officially strikes and the Jets are on the clock. I guess we'll start. I mean, we've talked a lot about who the Jets could take with the 6th pick. I don't think we've talked enough about who the Jets could take with their 2nd or 3rd round pick. And obviously, I mean, that's a much different scenario because the 6th pick you only have to have 5 guys. Only 5 guys are going in front of that pick, and our
right.
2nd round pick there's 35 or so. But who is your favorite day 2 prospect for the New York Jets? I know Kyle has a few guys in mind, and this class is a very deep one at running back and tight end and a few other positions. But, I mean, this team has a lot of holes all over the place, and they could really use help at pretty much any position, especially in that day 2 spot. So who is your favorite day 2 prospect?
So hard to say because we don't even know who's going to be who's going to be available when we're on the clock in the 2nd and 3rd round, right? I mean, it's like, like there are guys that I would like to see be available. I mean, like, but it depends. That's a question. It's so hard to answer only because like. Where did we go in the 1st round? So, if we take a tight end in the 1st round, then, obviously we need help in the secondary. So then I would go secondary in the 2nd round and then, but do we trade down and get 2 guys in the 1st round? And, so it's such a hard question to answer, but, I think that like, I really think we need a lot of help in the secondary. And, I mean, guys like King that would be available, guys like, I mean, there's just so many, and you don't know who's going to be taken above you, and that's what all these mock drafts, like if you read 10 mock drafts, then you'll get 10 different answers of who's going to be available and who you want to pluck off that list. So, really, I do it the same kind of way that I kind of prepare for my own fantasy drafts. Like I just, I start to do the research for the next round after I take my guy after I take my 1st round pick, then I start researching, who do I think might be available, and, I give myself a list of 5 guys in order, and then, as the picks keep rolling along, then you figure out who you would take with that guy, in the 2nd and 3rd round. But it's like at this point, I mean, again, Ben, I'm not the guy that's like that gets so excited about the draft that I start trying to figure out who are the Rams going to take, who are this guy, it's like I just like to make my decision, on who I want, like maybe 5 or 6 picks ahead of, where we're going to pick. And then I start to get excited. I'm like, oh man, he might make it to our pick. Let's get him, So I can't even give you a list of that at this point, man. I wish I could. But it just really depends on where we go in the 1st round, who's available in the 2nd round, who's available in the 3rd round. And then I'll tweet out who I'd like, and I'll be able to give you a better answer on draft night. But right now, I mean, there's all these draft analysts out there. They tell you who they want, but I'm not that guy.
No, I definitely feel that. And again, as we mentioned, it's much harder to predict, the Jets' 2nd and 3rd overall selections as compared to their 1st overall. But definitely on day 2 of the draft, Jay, we'll be looking for your take on. There's always some guy that falls out of round 1, and Jets fans are always clamoring for him. Whether that's Geno Smith a few years ago or Miles Jack, I think was the last one last year. There's always some guy that falls.
Okay, so let me present a situation. Let me just explain my point here. So let's say the Jets did take that. Like, let me just provide this crazy scenario. Let's say the Jets did trade down, and so they picked up an extra 2nd round pick, and now you took, let's say O.J. Howard slipped to them at number 12, best case scenario. So they get O.J. Howard at 12. Now they have an extra 2nd round pick. They take, and a guy like, oh man, I can't wait till I get a text from Kevin because I know he's listening. The true primetime producer. I know he's gonna fire it out and he's gonna be pissed off at me, but I'm gonna say this. So let's say in the 2nd round, a guy like Deshaun Watson slips to the 2nd round by some crazy. You've seen it happen before. Listen, you've seen it happen before, and we have a 2nd round pick. If they took a guy like that in the 2nd round, then it's not like to me then you're shooting your shot. You're pulling a Kyle in Quinton Patton's Instagram Live. And you may have an extra pick to be able to shoot that kind of shot. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily where I would go, but it would make taking a quarterback or something more understandable in the 2nd round if you had an extra pick than taking him at number 6 at the top of the draft. So it makes it really hard for me to really decide who I want, based on we don't know the situation that the Jets will be in the second round and how many picks they'll have, or if they trade it down, or if this guy's available, if this guy slipped. Even a guy like, let's say, Reuben Foster. I mean, it came out this week that he needs surgery. So, he's going to slip.
Well, we've known that.
How far is he? Yeah, but how far is he going to slip? I mean, who knows? And so, I'm not a fan of taking any of these guys with injury histories or injury problems. I mean, that's why a guy like Lattimore, I wouldn't take him and stuff like that. But, if they start to slip and they go down and you have an extra pick available in the second round and somehow, teams are just passing on him, like an Aaron Rodgers type of scenario, where he dropped all the way to the bottom of the first round, those are decisions you have to make as it goes. And so that's why I just don't get into all this pre-draft talk because, you just got to see how it plays out.
Talking about the quarterbacks, you brought up Deshaun Watson, and this kind of just relates to the quarterbacks, but I just want to say, if I'm the Jets, this is in my opinion, obviously I'm not the general manager for a reason, primarily because of my age, but unless...
Primarily, that's why.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why so far. I would bring back Mangini, but that's just me. If I'm the Jets, I'm not touching a quarterback unless it's in the first round and I think he's absolutely the guy, or it's the seventh round and I think I could, make him a good backup, or, try to get like one of those really, really late Russell Wilson type of guys like Josh Dobbs, Chad Kelly, who might be sitting there in the seventh round, who have a boatload of talent, have a lot of upside, but there are certain things holding them back. That's the only way I would touch a quarterback in this draft. Second round, I think you're wasting another pick like you did last year in Christian Hackenberg. Third round, we have the 2 picks there. Be really upset if we took a guy there. So really for me, it would only be first and seventh round.
I was just bringing up a scenario. I'm not a draft quarterback guy this year. I think that this year we absolutely and I agree with you. Before we start drafting quarterbacks, we need to find out what Christian Hackenberg is. I mean, look, McCagnon obviously felt comfortable enough with him that he, was willing to take all the heat, knowing that, if you draft Christian Hackenberg, he's going to sit for a year. He stuck to his plan, to his credit, and he took him. Now, it almost makes that decision, if you draft a quarterback number 6 this year, here's the thing. I mean, let's be honest. If he takes a quarterback in 6th year and doesn't pan out, his career is over. I mean, he can't do it unless he feels so comfortable with the guy that he knows in the back of his head that guy, it's the ultimate gamble. And if it pans out, then he's a genius. If it doesn't pan out, then he's the biggest idiot in the world, and he's going to get fired, and that's going to be the end of him, and he'll never get another general manager job ever in the history of the rest of his career. So, with that being said, as crazy as it sounds, if he feels comfortable enough about a quarterback that he's willing to take that risk and go all in, I would almost be partially excited about it. But I'm not going to. It's not what I want to see. It's not what I want to see him do. Cause, by the way, Jay Bruce just hit a 3-run home run to take the lead for the Mets. So I'm sorry that I took a little pause there, but that was
go Yankees.
I know you are, but there's a lot of Mets fans out there, so that was pretty cool. Anyway, so if he feels that comfortable with the guy, you have to go into McCagnon's head and think he must be sold on this guy, that he's willing to basically trash his previous year's second round draft pick and just go all in with this guy. And if that's the case, look, man, it's a gamble. It's the ultimate gamble. He's playing chicken with his career, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then it's going to set us back big time. And for that reason, I can't. I'm just like, I just can't see them going in that direction. I can't see. I would put the odds at 0.0001% that we draft a quarterback in the first round. With that said, because he can't. How can he with the 2 young guys he has? So I would prefer that we don't draft a quarterback, that we that we stick to filling out this roster. Let's see what Hackenberg is. If he's terrible, if he's trash, if Petty's terrible and he's trash, then I think that basically we are going to be in a situation next year to draft a quarterback, and then we can go in that direction. But at least let's see what we have in him. We never really got a chance to really see what Geno was. With a competent roster and a competent. I know you do, but we never really did. He partially because of his own doing, he made his own bed in a lot of situations with a lot of off the field stuff. So I mean, he got himself into a lot of that stuff. But I think that Christian Hackenberg is the ultimate wild card here. I feel like I'd like to see what he is before we start tinkering and trying to bring in another guy, another project, another quarterback. But if we do, and that's the direction Mike McCagnon goes in, then and he's a scout. He knows a lot more about this stuff than any of us on the phone like to talk about, or any of us out there. He's the man. He has the job, and if that's the direction he goes in, I'm just gonna hope for the best, man. Because just look at what's going on in his head, that he felt that comfortable that that's where he went. I mean, I can't see him doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And say we did make this trade, Jag. Ooh, you brought up guys like Reuben Foster possibly slipping. Who would you ideally take at 12?
I mean, I'm a big. I wasn't so much in the beginning, but I'm a big fan of O.J. Howard. I think that he just brings so much to the table for what we need. We need offensive line help. I mean, I look, man. I love Robbie Anderson. I love Quincy Nunu. I'm hoping to see Decker back because at this point, I mean, why not? I mean, as long as he's healthy, I think that he definitely helps a young quarterback. But I think that we need some. We haven't had a tight end since. And we keep trying. We draft them. They draft Kyle Brady, Anthony Beck, Keller. They go with. I mean, it doesn't stop. It's like, the list is endless of tight ends that we drafted. Johnny Mitchell, even going back to a guy like that. We haven't really had a good tight end in quite a while. And I think that a guy like that, I mean, especially all the things I was saying about Mike McCagnon and his need to really hit this one out of, knock this one out of the park, he needs to, draft guys that are safe, that are going to contribute right away. And I think that, the safest guy in the draft, basically, considering what he can bring to the table and with our needs on the offensive line and with a dynamic kind of receiver coming out of the backfield like that, I think that it could only help. I mean, imagine our offense with him and Quincy, and then Robbie stretching the field, and Bilal Powell. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. That especially if Decker comes back in the slot. I mean, and then a guy like Patton, a little speedy guy that dude, that offense is nothing to laugh at, man. I know everyone's talking about how we have such a trash roster, but we
really don't.
At that point,
we have a trash quarterback. That's right. That's the real thing.
Well, we have a lot. We have an unknown at quarterback, and if Christian Hackenberg can be something, this offense is not terrible. The offensive line is not terrible. We have some weapons back there, and if we brought in a guy like O.J. Howard, I mean, especially with our young defense, I mean, clearly we need a secondary. So if we traded down to number 12 and we scored O.J. Howard at 12, and we got an extra pick, and then we could address the secondary with it, the 2 picks that we would have in the second round. Oh my God, we'd have this team would be something to get excited about, and I really feel comfortable saying that. I think that the talk of us tanking and being the worst team in football and winning one game is way overblown with this team. I think that it's just Jet fans being Jet fans. So I'm personally kind of excited about the young guys, and if we could fill out this roster with a lot of picks and trading down and all that stuff, and still wind up walking out of the first round with a guy like O.J. Howard, I would be fired up.
For sure. Yeah. And Jay, sorry, Kyle, to cut you off. I was just listening to you guys talk some draft football, but I mean, Jay, I mean, you're one of the first people to say it a few weeks ago that, I mean, you don't believe this team is as bad as people have made it out to be, and I agree with that. I think this is a young, talented team. I don't know necessarily what the ceiling is, but I don't think they're as bad as many people are going to expect them to be. I would go as far to say I think they'll finish with a better record than they did last year. I agree. Isn't that bold of a take? But what I'm saying is a lot of people have them finishing with 5 or under wins, and I'm saying I think they're going to probably get 7-ish wins with this roster.
Well, I think 5 is the absolute floor, because my take on it all along is, what have we lost that we're going to miss so much with it? Last year's schedule was tough, and the roster was, I mean, look, when you have guys that are veterans, that are names, that have hit the wall and are on the downside, and you see a guy like it almost gets pathetic when you see a guy like Revis just getting toasted every week, and you see like, guys like Brandon Marshall just dropping pass after pass, and situation, and Ryan Fitzpatrick with what he gave us last year. I mean, look, if Christian Hackenberg sucks, can he suck as bad as Ryan Fitzpatrick sucked last year? If the guys who are coming in, these young, hungry guys who are coming in to replace these aging veterans that gave us absolutely nothing last year, only perform up to what those guys did, which would be their floors, I would think, or below their floors even, who do we lose? Revis, Marshall, Mangold, none of those guys get signed anywhere. The NFL apparently thinks that those guys are done, or maybe they're worth like some kind of veteran minimum contract, later on down the line, but none of them are on any teams. So, if guys like Robbie Anderson, if guys like, guys, Justin Burris, guys like that, if they were cut, they would be on teams right now, So, like, let's not, go so crazy with talking about how the Jets are going to lose 4 more games than they lost last year with an easier schedule and capable replacements that are probably going to play better than the guys that they're stepping in for. So, hopefully you get rid of some of the locker room drama. There was a lot of that last year, and getting rid of Brandon Marshall will probably help some of that. I know that he's a great guy to have around when things are going well, but when things are kind of on the, are not going so well, some of his talk kind of falls on deaf ears and pisses some of the guys off. So I think that, look, I don't see us losing, 14 games this year. I mean, I guess it could happen, but I just don't see it happening. I think that this team is going to be a lot better than people are going to expect it to be. And, just from being Jet fans, we know when we go into a season talking about a Super Bowl, usually we flop. When we go into a season talking about, how terrible we're going to be, usually, like in 2013, that team went 8-8. I mean, can this team do the same thing? I think they can. Can they win the division? Probably not. Can they win a Super Bowl? I highly doubt it. But I think that,
most definitely not.
I think that, yeah. But I think that, this could be a much better year than people expect. And I'm not going to be the guy who's going to come out from week 1 hoping that they tank. I mean, look, if they get to 9 games in, what's up?
Is that a shot at me, Jet?
No, I'm not shooting anything at you, man. I didn't even know that you were hoping they tank. But what my point is, if they come out and they're 1-8 after 9 weeks, then yeah, at that point I'll be hoping they tank. But I'm going to come out for the season as a Jet fan, just like I do every season, hoping for the best. And I'm going to be rooting for them from week 1. And if they come out and they win their first couple of games, you know how things go in the NFL. Sometimes teams come out and surprise. So, who knows? Maybe they go 8-8, 9-7. I think that's about their ceiling.
Yeah, that would be nice.
For sure. And Jay, sorry.
The ceiling, right?
Yeah, exactly, Jay. And sorry to cut you off there a little bit at the end. Really quickly, before we let you go, tell the listeners a little bit about what you're doing over at NY Jets Fans. You have the whole Young Guns project, so just let our listeners know about that.
Yeah, well, along the lines of what I was just saying, look, I'm excited about the youth on this roster, seeing how these guys perform. We've made a lot of deals with a lot of these guys. To try and get fans to rally around them, have some fun with the fans, interact with them. So we did this Young Guns T-shirt series that's coming out. We just got a lot of shirts going on right now. With guys like Justin Burris, Deion Simon, obviously Quincy and Robbie. We came out with that shirt. Now we have Leonard Williams and Darren Lee coming out, and then we have. What the hell? I'll just announce it on your show, man. You want some breaking news? We have a shirt coming out for Brian Winters next. So
hey,
boy.
Right so
Winter is coming.
Yep. So we're having a lot of fun with it with the players. We have a couple more deals. I'm not going to let you guys know about those just yet, but because those are going to be coming out in the future. But we have a lot of fun stuff that we're doing. We have a draft party coming up on next Thursday in New York City. Quincy Newman's going to be hosting it. It's actually U Stadium's party, so we're going to be there giving out prizes, T-shirts, autographed stuff. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff going on in Jet Nation. So to all you guys listeners, it's like, don't get so down on this team. Let's let him play a game first. Let's let Christian Hackenberg play a game first before we get so down on him. Let's not just prejudge everything and say the doom and gloom and I know that's the Jet fan way, and I'm guilty of it myself at times, but let's give these young guys a chance, because I think that if you do, you'll be pleasantly surprised of what's to come. And we may not win a Super Bowl this year, or win the division this year, but we can take steps in the right direction so that next year or the year after, we're right back in that spot where we can compete. And, it's a process. I know that's the cliche word, but it's a process. And for one, I'm psyched about the direction of the franchise. I know people may laugh at that, but I am, and that's just the way I feel.
Yeah, Jay, always good stuff, man. Always good talking to you, and thank you for calling in. And yes, thank you for listening to the Quinton Patton interview, giving us advice as always, and we love your takes, man. Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, it was a sloppy interview at times, the whole connection issue and stuff, but
you guys did a good job. I'm still mad at you guys for not asking him to freestyle though, because I saw that on Instagram and that dude can rap. So. I think that you guys could have gotten a nice soundbite out of that if you just played him a beat and let him go to work. But that's just me. You guys did a great job, though. Good work getting him on the show.
Well, thank you, Jay. I thought about it when David and I, or when the whole show when David couldn't get himself off mute. I was like, oh, we could throw him a beat right now, but no. The opportunity was there, Jay, and we did not take a swing. We did not shoot our shot. Jay. Good stuff, man. We will talk to you sometime soon. Hopefully before the draft. Hopefully we can get your final take.
I'll call in next week, and I'll give you a less icy cold take on my draft. Next week I'll tell you two guys that I'm going to target in the second and third round based on who I think might be available in those spots. I'll research it for you guys, and it'll be a nice hot take instead of that icy cold garbage that I gave you tonight.
Jay, I think it was the fun thing.
All right, guys. You guys have a good night, and keep up the great work.
Hey, you too, man. Thank you.
Thanks for being on, Jay. Jay's got a lot of exciting projects coming out. He recently released. Wow, that was a tongue twister. That new Justin Burris Wolfpack shirt. I don't know if you've got to see that, Ben. I know you've been a little bit MIA. That's really nice. He's got that new Leonard Williams and Big Cat and Manimal shirt coming out. That should be pretty good. And, the designer behind all that, Elliot Gerard, a guy who's pretty famous nowadays, you've seen his work on ESPN. We got him possibly coming on the show pretty soon. So that should be pretty cool. But, Ben, I'm pretty sure we're ready for the next caller. Are you? I'll take that as a yes. And that's going to be David's favorite caller, and that is Justin. Justin, thanks for coming on the show, man. How are you doing tonight?
Yo, what's up, guys? How we doing?
I am doing pretty good. Can't speak for Ben because I don't think he can speak right now. But let's just hop right into this, Justin, because we are pressed a little bit for time. We had that pretty long interview. Don't know how much you listened of it. Though, judging by your call duration, it looks like most of it. So thank you for being on hold for so long. Rumors today swirling around about the Jets possibly trading back. I'm sure you heard the details. What are your initial thoughts on it?
I don't really have any thoughts because, to be honest, it's all smoke screens right now. These next 2 weeks, from now till next Thursday, it's all smoke screens, so I don't believe anything I hear.
Oh, so you think it's all a grand ruse by Mike McCagnon? He's just sipping on his coffee and releasing it to the public?
Mike McCagnon is trying to get the value up for the number 6 pick, and the Browns are in love with Chervinsky, so it does make sense. The trade does make sense, but for now, I'm not sweating it. It's no big deal, and it's just a rumor in my eyes.
All right, well, I'll forward the same question I asked Jay to you. If the Jets did make the trade, number 12, who are you looking at? Because, this changes the game a little bit. We're no longer talking Malik Hooker, Jamal Adams, even possibly O.J. Howard. So who are you looking at number 12?
Well, I'm hoping O.J. Howard slips to 12. Let me just get that out of the way. But I'm not sure he would be available at 12 if we do trade back with the Browns. So, guys like Reuben Foster, definitely. David DeJesus, Jaku, guys like that. Yep, guys like that. I would definitely be in consideration if we trade back. But it all depends who's there when we pick too. It's the big thing. People want to say that, but guys have to be there when we're picking. So as Jay said, you got to see it all depends who's there when who's on the board when we're picking.
What if a guy like Christian McCaffrey is sitting there at 12? A guy who, I have as my number one running back officially. I haven't put it out on Draftem yet, but he is my number one. He is my number one. Would you be open to taking him at 12?
Yes, sir. I said it on Let's Talk Jets, I think last week. I'd rather have Christian McCaffrey than Leonard Fournette.
I agree. I was really thinking about it the other day, and I know this is my take, and this is supposed to be everybody else's take, but I'm going to center it on me for a second because I'm egotistical. Leonard Fournette, once he was the workhorse in LSU, and this year,
thanks.
Yeah, I mean, this year they had the backup Goose, I forget how you pronounce his last name. He came in and he carried some of the load, but primarily Leonard Fournette was used a lot in LSU, to say the least, like NFL level numbers. So he's not.
One, I don't think Leonard Fournette is going to have a lengthy career, and at pick 6 or even pick 12, I don't think he's worth it.
Yeah, that's the point I was getting at. The big thing about Fournette is look at his speed with, the size that he has. And McCaffrey's actually taller than him. I believe McCaffrey's like 6'1" and Fournette's like 6 foot, according to the combine. But, when that speed goes away, which eventually it will for Fournette, just because of old age, and I'm pretty sure I want to say carry-wise, he might already be like halfway done or very close to it, just the amount that he took at LSU. And he took a beating almost every game. He's a bulldozer. So eventually that speed will go away, and he will just become a big body. And probably his best comparison at the next level is LeGarrette Blount. And I don't know about you, but I'm not comfortable taking a guy like LeGarrette Blount at 6 overall.
No, absolutely not. I mean, and Christian McCaffrey, he can do more than Leonard Fournette. He's a better blocker, better receiving back. Maybe he could even contribute on special teams. And I just think Christian McCaffrey is an overall better player than Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, this is really why I put McCaffrey over him. I think he's a much better player. Like you said, better blocker, better pass catcher, which is, I think, something, as Quinton Patton referred to, Johnny Moe can use to his advantage. And, McCaffrey is explosive with the ball in his hand. I don't know the exact stats, but I know for a fact he's returned multiple kick returns and punt returns, 4 touchdowns. And that's something that we have not had since Leon Washington type of days. Or Jeremy Curley. I don't even know if Jeremy Curley returned a touchdown, but he was probably our last stable punt returner that we had that wasn't coughing the ball up every 2 seconds like the rookies nowadays. So I think Christian McCaffrey would definitely be a wise investment either at 6 or 12.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
All right, Justin, like I said, we are a little bit crunched for time, primarily due to the interview. You did bring some fire tonight. You cooked David's waffles. Thank you for that. Why don't you go ahead and shout out all your social medias?
My Twitter is @Justin2413.
All right, Justin, thanks for coming on so much, man. Thanks for delivering your jet take.
All right, thanks, guys. Good interview tonight.
Thanks, man. Means a lot.
All right.
And that was our good buddy Justin. We're going to keep moving right along with the callers because we are a little bit crunched for time. All right, let's go on to the biggest Notre Dame fan in the world. That's what we have him in as our contacts. This has to be the man, the myth, the legend, Joe from Long Beach. Let's Talk Jets' very own Joe. What's going on, my man?
What's going on? Look, I am not a fan of that school at all, so let's never, ever, ever associate me with that terrible place. I'm a USC fan all the way. Fight on, go Trojans.
I feel like you say this every time, and we just don't listen.
Yeah, you guys don't. It's crazy. It's like, guys, your ears are just closed to the logic. But, I just want to state that for everyone in case it may be your first-time listener or some guys are getting confused. I do not like that horrible, disgusting school.
Well, we'll edit that out in post-production and switch that around to say that you're in love with Notre Dame. But, let's get into the topics for tonight. I know you've been listening for basically an hour. So you listened to that whole interview. You've heard about the trade talks. Let's get off of that a little bit. Let's talk about the later rounds. You tried to catch me off guard when I called into your show a couple weeks ago with those later round picks. I'm going to do the same to you now. Who do you want the Jets to take in the 3rd round?
Ooh, the 3rd round. I would the way I look at the situation, I'm just going to go what we have right now. I know that there's, supposed talks with the Browns and different things like that. Who knows if that is real or if it's a smoke screen or whatever it is. But so the way I look at it is, I think we take a safety in the first. I think we possibly take a tight end in the second. In the third, I'd be looking for a corner. So there's some guys that are kind of on my list. I know King is a popular name, but I think he's going to probably be gone before then. Adoree Jackson could be a guy that
is there
think about.
Yeah. Is there any bias there? I just want to point that out. Is there bias?
There's no bias there. Come on now. Look. I'm not here. I don't know if he'll be there in the third. There's some scouts that are saying that he will be. So if he's there, I could see us taking him in the third. I think he'd fit in the slot. He also has, some kick return ability as well, which we all know we desperately need on this football team. So he can make our special teams better, and I think that would be a fit there.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think Adoree Jackson on the field, I don't care what the 40 times were, I think he's the fastest guy in this draft. I don't care what John Ross ran in a straight line. I know Adoree Jackson can easily burn the 11 guys in front of him when he's returning kicks. And like you said, he is explosive when it comes to that. And I do think he's best suited at slot at the next level. Now let's talk about the 6th and 7th round. I'm really putting you on blast here. Who are you looking at there? Not necessarily taking, because I know it's a pick there, but who are guys you're looking at?
What's crazy is that I've been talking about this. I talked a little bit about it on our show, Let's Talk Jets. A guy that could be there, and maybe he won't be there in the 6th, but I could see him being there in the 5th from just a couple of things the scouts have said about him. If Tim Williams is still there, I would be interested in taking that guy. And I understand that scouts have concerns with him. I get it, but at the same time, the guy is off the charts talented. Like there's no doubt about his talent. There's no doubt about what he does. We need pass rushers. He's a guy that fits. There's a lot of scouts that say that he can do this at the next level. That he's a guy that could get better. That he has a high ceiling. So if he's there, I could see us taking a chance on Tim Williams. I also look at Joe Mixon too. That's a guy. Another guy that I know that has off the field issues.
Concerning one.
It's a concerning one. But I know that one time you even said yourself that he was one of your highest-rated running backs, and he might be the best running back in this draft.
He is my third-rated running back.
Third-rated running back.
Looking at my board right now, I might have said that earlier, but looking now at my official ones, because I have them right here on my whiteboard, he is my third overall running back.
Okay, so if he's your third overall rated running back at this point, I remember at one time saying he may be the best out of all. So that would be a round you look for. But outside of like those two guys, I'm just saying those two guys I would definitely look at. But the 6th and 7th round, I'd be looking at guys that can fill spots, especially my special teams. Maybe even guys that can come in and play some offensive line as well. So that's where I would kind of look at.
Yeah, I brought up the guy last night on Jet Nation Radio. Don't know how much you tune into there. They have a good podcast. Joey Blewett over there doing his thing. I brought up the guy. Now, I may be a little biased here. I'll call myself out. David Sharp, offensive tackle from Florida. Dude's 6'6", 327 pounds, if I remember off the top of my head. He does a couple things really well, but then there are a couple of things that are just absolutely terrible. And I think that's why he'll slide to the 6th or 7th round. I think he's a guy, if you're talking about possibly filling in, some depth and guys you want to work with. I'm not saying he's compared to Brandon Shell, but, a guy that you can get in the later rounds and work with, possibly become a good starter one day.
Yeah, I've heard his name as well. Antonio Garcia is another guy that I've heard that could slide late. Now, Antonio, the thing about him is at the next level, I don't know if he's going to be strong enough to play there. And he needs some work on his technique too. And those combinations right there would get you killed alone. And that's why I think that some of these guys, like especially offensive line in this draft in particular, it's kind of scary, man. I know there's some big names out there. Cam Robinson is one of them. I was high on him at first, but when you really look at this class, it's kind of weak. So that's what would kind of scare me away from taking any of those guys earlier than the later rounds that we're talking about right now. But, yeah, David Sharp is definitely a name that's out there. Chad Wheeler's another one. Like I said, Antonio Garcia. Roderick Johnson, and there's another guy that's intriguing, but I don't know if I want to touch those guys.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if we draft a guy from Florida State, unless it's their fullback, I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head, I will be upset. I'm a little biased there. I'm not going to lie. But, you brought up Cam Robinson, and I just want to say, because I can hear Ben clicking around over there. He wants to hop into this conversation.
I'm getting my internet back. It's finally back up and running, Joe. But
you're getting antsy. I can hear you. Cam Robinson, my pro comparison for him, it's our very own offensive guard. Can anybody guess?
Are you calling for like Brian Winters or James Carpenter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's James Carpenter. That's my pro comparison for him because I think Cam Robinson will be a guard at the next level.
Yeah, that's a lot of people have said that. A lot of people have said that he won't play tackle at the next level. I've also heard some scouts say they may slide him out first and try him out there, and if he doesn't work out there, then he'll definitely be a guard at the next level. I could see that. I'm not saying that he's going to be James Carpenter. Be clear. That guy's. I think James Carpenter is literally probably one of the top 10 left guard in this league. So I'm not going to sit there and say that he's going to be James Carpenter, but I do think he'll play guard at the next level.
I think his play style is very similar. I'm not saying he's going to be like an all-pro like James Carpenter is. I'm just saying that it's how Alabama coaches their offensive linemen.
Yeah. I mean, he's a beast. Before, and I know you guys are going to ask me some questions, but I want to get this out real quick. We're going back and forth with the draft. I know that you wanted to grill me about later on in the draft. I know you didn't think I would have some names there, and I do my research. But
I was testing you.
When are you addressing pass rush? Because everything that I've heard you guys talk about throughout the show so far, as soon as I tuned in, there's been talks of Christian McCaffrey, there's been talks about this, talks about that, but no one's talking about bringing a pass rusher to the New York Jets. Isn't that something our defense needs the most as well?
I'll start, and then Ben, you can hop in because I know you're waiting patiently in the wings. What I'll say, Joe?
I'm waiting for my time.
Yeah. What I'll say from my personal evaluations in this draft, by far, best pure edge rusher is Myles Garrett. Number 2, probably Tim Williams. I'm not going to lie. And he's the only outside linebacker, and I'm counting T.J. Watt as like a hybrid inside linebacker, outside linebacker, so I'm not going to count him in this. But Myles Garrett and Tim Williams are really the 2 guys that I would be most interested in. Obviously, we're not going to get Myles Garrett. And then Tim Williams with, his problems, and I think we already have enough guys on suspension for, either PEDs or drug use. So I'm not necessarily sure about that. So it would really have to be the later rounds. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't think a lot of those guys are worth those value picks. I'd rather go with like a wide receiver who may be a really good special teams player for me, who could be a guy like Quinton Patton instead, who could be a really good blocker, come in, in certain downs, we're going really, say we have 5 wide or something, he could be one of those guys. Because, Jalen Marshall, he might not be on the team. There will definitely be some wide receiver spots open. So, edge rush, I definitely see a cause for concern. But, the jury's still out on guys like Lorenzo Malden. And then, obviously, we brought in Kevin Green. So, I'm hoping that he can come in and try and fix a lot of our problems there. So, I'm not pressing the alarm there yet. But if one falls to us in like the 2nd or 3rd round, I definitely take him.
So let me get your takes on this. And I know Ben, I hear you, man.
Ben, we're splitting you tonight.
Yeah, I cannot wait to speak to you. But you're telling me. So
I was inhaling and I was about to exhale a bunch of words. But
say we trade down because I heard you give this scenario earlier. We trade down to say about 12 or whatever, pick 12 is. We're looking at this situation. I know you guys saying O.J. Howard. I like the kid. I think he's a great tight end, but I think he'll be gone before there. So say he's gone, and Hassan Riddick is sitting right there. I think, and I'm going to keep saying this until my face is blue, because I want everybody to know when this kid explodes that I'm telling you, the Long Beach Joe told us. I think Hassan Riddick may be the best linebacker in this draft, outside linebacker. Ooh. And I think he's a solid pass rush. I know, that's saying a lot, but I think he's a solid pass rush, and I think at the next level, he's going to get it, man. Because not only is he tough physically, right, he's tough mentally. If you look at his backstory, all the things that he's been through, how much he's fought to get to where he's at right now. Anybody listening, if you haven't heard about this kid, I'm telling you, go look him up and just read about some of the stuff that he's been through.
Yep.
Would you take Hassan in the first round at pick 12 if he's sitting right there? Wouldn't that help you?
Then I'll go again because I'm not sure how much film you've watched on him.
Wow, shots fired, Kyle. No, I've watched my fair share of film about him, but okay, you can go first.
Okay. Don't falsify the story. I have a second-round grade on him, personally. I'm concerned by injuries, and I'm concerned on how much he was used in college. I believe the official statistic is under 70% of the plays, and that's a problem for me. I'm not taking a guy who's not going to be a complete player for me in the first round. He's there in the second round. If he's, say we do trade back, like you said, if he's sitting there at 33, I'm considering it because I'm assuming a team like the Dolphins at 22, even though they signed a couple linebackers, they might look at him. You know, the Giants might look at him. There are a couple teams that might definitely look at him, that mid-20 range. But if he's there at 33, I definitely give him a strong consideration, knowing the need and knowing that he is a talented guy with a couple of downsides.
Okay.
All right,
okay, fine. Thank you. No, I think he's. I would definitely consider him if you move down to 12. But my thing is personally, I think although the outside pass rushing is not nearly where it needs to be, and I think that is a huge hole. I expect the Jets to not address that till later in the draft. If they do trade down and they're at 12 and he's there, then maybe. But I don't know if the Jets are going to be able to trade down. So in that situation, Joe, to answer your question, depending on who's on the board, I would definitely consider him. But if I'm sitting at 6 and we're saying the Jets don't trade anything, I think if you just look at the value and you know, as we talked about with Jay, guys do fall into the second and third round and stuff. If you look at the value, I think the best chance the Jets have to get, you know, the most bang for their buck is to wait on linebackers probably till that third or fourth round. And I know that is what the Jets have done in the years past, and it hasn't necessarily turned out the way they like. I know Jordan Jenkins definitely has a lot of potential, but he's more of that like run-stopping, dirty work type of linebacker. And Lorenzo Mauldin still has stuff to prove, although he's a talented pass rusher. But again, I do expect him to address it there or just not to address it at all, because as far as the type of value in the first round of where they pick, I don't know if you can reach for a guy like Riddick at 6, and I know you're suggesting 12. Maybe there's that crazy scenario where Myles Garrett falls, and then you're like, well, you play him at outside linebacker.
If he falls to number 2, I'm trading a lot to move up to number 2.
Well, I see what you're saying, number 2. You never know. But for me right now, and just looking at the position, and I know they always say, you know, take the best player available, and I know we've been preaching, you know, take the best player for the New York Jets, but if you are going to take Mike Maccagnan's strategy of taking the best player available, I don't know if a linebacker is going to come into their plans until mid-late rounds. But again, I'm not in their war room, and so I have no idea. But if I were to just judge from what I've seen of guys on tape and different big boards, I would suggest I would predict the Jets don't take a linebacker until at the very early third, maybe fourth round.
Yeah, and I hear you, like I said, but when we're talking about guys that can come in and rush the passer, from what I've seen of Hassan, I think Hassan has the ability to do that at the next level. And I know that Kyle says, you know, Tim Williams is the second guy on his board. I talked a little bit about, you know, Tim Williams with him as well. But when you talk about some of the issues that kid has, unless you're willing to risk that in the later rounds, I mean, I could see the Jets taking Hassan, especially if they're trading down to 12, because that would address a need, and then you can move further. I know everyone wants O.J. Howard in the first, but I'm looking at that tight end class, and I'm saying to myself, David Njoku, you know, is going to be there. David Njoku is a guy that's talked about that could be in the second round there as well, very likely. There's other guys behind him. Jake Butt is another guy that I like as well, that could be picked up later on those rounds. So I get the O.J. Howard. I get that he's a solid blocker.
I would not be able to wait for Jay's. Sorry, my internet.
I would be so happy.
But I would not be able to wait for Jay's T-shirts. For Jake.
Yeah. And I get that, you know, people, you know, they like O.J. Howard now. A lot of people were not big on him when his name was first brought up, but now everybody's, you know, kind of trying to get on the O.J. Howard train. Some people at least. And I get that. But when I look at that tight end class and I see how deep it is, I'm saying to myself, man, we need to address other positions, because I know people aren't necessarily big on ASJ He hasn't really found his way here, but a lot of that you can put on the fact that he was in an offense that didn't really feature a tight end. He had some issues last year as well, kind of staying healthy. But this year he's working to get back. He's losing 19 pounds. He's going to be suspended for a little bit. But once he comes back, he may be the answer.
Weeks. That's what I'm looking at. 2 extra weeks to prepare.
Exactly. He may be the answer to that tight end spot. He may be able to produce and give us some production from there. So, again, I understand that tight end you still would look to address tight end, but I just don't think we need to go tight end so high with all the other holes that we have here. Like you said earlier, Ben, I'm not interested in taking Hassan at 6. I never said that, and I know you said I'll take him at 12. I just wanted to reiterate that for some people that may not actually have listened. I said take Hassan at 12. If we're talking about staying at 6, if we do that, I'm looking to go safety. I'm looking to go Malik Hooker. Bottom line, we need a guy with range that can ball hawk, that can be back there and cover. And I think that he can do that well at the next level.
Can somebody please just say Jamal Adams for once? He's a much better player.
Jamal Adams is a solid safety, but from everything that I've seen, all of I've seen, he is, but he's elite in the box safety. I don't know. Listen, there's a lot of people that will argue with you that in the box stuff, is he great? Absolutely. Does he have some coverage ability? Yes. A lot of people say that he's just like a couple ticks better than Calvin Pryor, and that's not saying a whole lot. And I get that. I get that. But if I'm talking about we need a guy with range. I need a guy that can get everywhere around the field and has cover ability, and that's Hooker. That's Malik Hooker right there. That rings his bell right there. So I get it. I think Adams is right there. I definitely wouldn't cry if we took Adams if Hooker for some reason was off the board. But if you're asking me my choice at 6, I would take Malik Hooker hands down.
I don't think Adams will be there, bottom line, because I think if the Bears are smart, they take him because they really need an elite player in the secondary. I think Adams has just the explosiveness that Malik Hooker has. And I believe it was Bucky Brooks today on Twitter said that he's even more capable than Malik Hooker. Personally, I have Jamal Adams in my top 10 nickel corners, but by far my best nickel corner is Shinobi Awuzie, so there is a large difference there. If I were to say like what round he was, if he was going in as a corner in the draft, he'd probably be like a 5th round guy. And if he was probably a free safety, he'd probably be 2nd or 3rd round. So I think he's a lot more versatile than people like to give him credit for. And really, the only comparison I could give him for a current strong safety in the NFL, I'm not saying he has the size or anything, or he'll even end up being him, but the guy who I think he can most relate to is by far Cam Chancellor. And he's a good player. I'm not going to call Cam elite.
Oh, God, not this again.
But, I specifically said that for you, Ben. But I think he has the ability to be...
Wait, did you... Whoa, can we just go back and say Kyle did not call Cam Chancellor elite? Can we just acknowledge that he doesn't think Cam...
I mean, we
Kyle,
saw
do you really not think he...
We saw it this year. Proof is in the pudding. He sucked this year.
All right, Kyle. Well, I'm just gonna let that one go because it's not related to the Jets, but we can debate whether Cam Chancellor is an elite strong safety. I mean, we already know what I think. And Joe, really quickly, is Cam Chancellor an elite strong safety?
I mean,
yes or no, Joe? Yes or no?
That's a no.
Yes or no?
Listen, I think Cam's a great safety.
Oh,
yeah.
Look, I mean, he's a great safety. He does his things. He roams down. He could definitely hit to absolutely destroy guys that's in the box. I guess you can give him that elite tag. He does his thing. Like I'm not going to deny him that he's a great player in this league. So I can see both sides. I could definitely see you saying that he's elite.
Earl Thomas makes him.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just going to let you guys can keep talking.
Yeah.
No, Ben, like I said,
I'm gone. Oh, did we lose everybody? Oh no.
I guess we lost Ben.
Yeah, Ben left, and it is fit of fury. I guess that's what happens when
I'm still here.
That's what happens. Well. I guess my Christmas wish didn't come true. All right, Joe, we are swamped on the call line.
It's April, so.
Hey. It takes time sometimes, all right? He's a busy man up there in the North Pole. All right, Joe, thank you so much for coming on, man. You brought the fire as usual. I tried to catch you off guard with those mid-rounds, and I didn't. I failed, and props to you for that one. So why don't you go ahead, give out your social media. You're doing some great things on Let's Talk Jets. You're still doing your YouTube, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Man, David's got some stiff competition in producing and YouTube, and it all comes from Let's Talk Jets. So David might have to do something about that. I don't know. All right, go ahead and give us all your social media, Joe.
Yes, absolutely. Again, I want to thank you guys for having me on your show. I am on Let's Talk Jets. We are live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Blog Talk Radio. The phone number is 929-477-2651. I'm also on Facebook as well. Everybody search Long Beach Joe on Facebook. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with people about the team. Also leave us some feedback. We love hearing about what people have to say about what we do on Let's Talk Jets. I'm also on Twitter as well at YoungJ000. That's 30. Go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me? No issues. I love the trolls. I will troll you right back. I'm also on YouTube as well at YoungJ00. That's 2 zeros on YouTube, 3 on Twitter. I do videos about the Jets. I talk about the rest of the NFL. During the season, I do pick-ems throughout the week. Talk about roster moves that the Jets are making, things that they could do to improve the roster as well. So subscribe to my content, man. Message me on there. I'll message you right back, too. We can go back and forth about the team. And as always, guys, whenever anyone sees me in person and you talk to me, you want to talk about the show, anything like that, listen, arms out, chest open, free hugs for everybody, man. Love every single one of you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me on again.
Love it. All right, Joe, thanks for being on. All right, and that was our good buddy Joe from Let's Talk Jets once again. You can go follow him at Long Beach Joe. Ben, I think we're ready to roll on to the next caller. This show might go a little longer than expected because we still have a couple people on hold, and our next caller on the night is going to be my co-worker to say, Alex. Alex, what's going on, man? Thanks for calling into the show.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How are you?
We're doing pretty good. Rumors swirling around. Currently still at the 6th pick. Don't know where that will be towards the end of this time next week. What are your thoughts about these trade rumors?
Very interesting. Would definitely be intrigued to get some more picks. As you guys have said numerous times, this is a very talented draft class. So the more picks we can get, the more talent we can put on this team and, start looking toward a better future. So if we could make that happen, and I understand smoke screens and people are writing articles and things like that, but I think Mike Mack will be on the phone and they will be talking to teams come draft day. And if he has the availability to pull the trigger and do something like this, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think this could definitely be one of those trades that could change the franchise, to say. So give me a couple prospects that you'll be looking at. The trade rumors are we get the 12, 33, and a 4th-round pick. I don't know that numeral off the top of my head. So just give me some guys you would be looking at there, because you're doing phenomenal work for Draft Them. I thank you for that. I know you've been putting in a lot of time and effort looking at all these prospects, watching film, finding gifts. I still don't know how you find all those gifts. That amazes me still to this day. And for those who don't get that joke, why aren't you reading Alex's articles on Draft Them? Go check it out, draftblog.wordpress.com. Wow, I got my own website wrong. But go ahead and give us the prospects you're looking at those picks.
Appreciate that. Draft Them is definitely where it's at. But looking at a scenario with the 12th pick here, best player available is always on my mind. And guys that I might see that could be available for this team, if we're looking at the edge position, Derek Barnett might slide there. He's a phenomenal edge rusher. He's a powerhouse, and he would just be a tremendous addition to this stellar defensive line that we have. I'm not sure if we were to look at a defensive back, I think both of the premier safeties would be gone. So it would be very interesting to see if we would use that possibly at the 33rd pick and, look for the safety position there. But if I were to take a defensive back, I really like Marlon Humphrey. I'm a big fan of his. And another guy I would probably look at defensively. I do like Quincy Wilson a lot. The more and more I see of him, the more I like. So probably somewhere with defensive pick at 12 would be the best scenario for me.
Yeah, if O.J. Howard was there, are you taking him?
If O.J. Howard was there and, some of the names I mentioned weren't, I don't think how you could go wrong with getting a player like that. He's a mismatch nightmare, and, you can line him up inline or outside, and, he could provide tremendous blocking in the run game and in passing. And, as far as using a safety net for a young quarterback, he definitely fits that category.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little update, Ben was having internet troubles throughout the whole episode, and according to him, his internet just completely died on him for some reason. I guess it's those mountains out there in Oregon. I don't know what we're going to do with him. So it's just me for the rest of the night, I guess, or at least until Ben can get back on, so all those who hate me can leave. And there go 2 callers. Wasn't expecting more than that, but okay. All right, let's talk about some later rounds. We talked about it with Joe, and let's talk about it with you. As I said, I know you're doing your homework. Who are later round guys that you're looking at to help further this team?
A couple of the mid-round guys that I really like this year, similar to what Joe had said, there's a lot of versatile linemen that will be probably in that 6th or 7th pick. They call it Mr. Irrelevant, but it never hurts to get O-line depth on the back end. And, I've been pounding the table for this guy, J.J. Dielman. I really, really like the fact that he can play outside as a tackle out of Utah, and he can play center as well. I kind of think of him as getting another Wesley Johnson type. And, if you were to get a player like that, you could coach him up and groom him and, see where he blossoms at. And, if he has a career at center, that would be something that we could have down the line as a backup or, a possible starter if Wesley Johnson isn't the answer for us. Somebody, I would say maybe around the 5th round, being that we don't have a 4th this year, that I would like would probably be a tight end if we don't go early with that position. Let's say a scenario in which O.J. Howard does not happen for us in the later rounds. I really like George Kittle out of Iowa. I really think that he kind of brings a lot to the table. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, he really reminds me of like a Heath Miller style tight end.
Yeah, you brought up George Kittle undrafted him. Pretty sure there's a new article out on him. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct. I just did a profile on him and got some good content.
Yeah, I know. I read it over, and it was really good. All right, now let's talk about a little bit some Jets news, right? So these voluntary workouts or OTAs, whatever what you want to call them, started taking place. There are no noticeable absences, but what is strange is that the Jets have been releasing predetermined statements from players. That way the media doesn't have exposure to them. Are they hiding your quarterback controversy here? Is this what their move is?
Well, we know as far as the communicating with the media, the Jets do not like doing it. We've seen the way that Todd handles himself and Mike Mack. They will literally repeat the same statement over and over again and make you numb in the face if you try to.
I know a guy who did that.
Get him to answer
now
a tough
famous.
question. Exactly.
I'm only here so I won't be blind.
Exactly. So, it's interesting the way that they're going to handle this. I don't know if this is going to be their direction for the rest of the season, but I don't really mind it at all. I'd like to keep things in-house, let the beat writers, spin the tales, and, if people want to go down that spiral, they can go for it. I'm not going to fall down the rabbit hole. But, I respect the way that they handle their business right now and just keeping it business, professional.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice. What I've always disliked about the New York media, and what I will say in reception to Manish Mehta, who, if you're listening, I hope you get fired, in reception to guys like him, I don't think the New York media is as bad as it used to be. We got some really good beat writers nowadays. We got Wozniak, we got Kimberly Martin, individuals like that who are doing great jobs. But I think this is a really smart idea by the Jets to even stop those people from possibly creating headlines about controversies, within the locker room, like last year, Brandon Marshall and Sheldon Richardson, and at the quarterback position. And I haven't really seen a lot of teams do this before, so I think that's very intuitive by the Jets to start doing this. All right, Alex, why don't you go ahead and give us all your social medias? You're doing a great job on Draft Them, as I said, and I'm sure people want to hear your fire takes on your Twitter. I'm pretty sure you have an Instagram too, but go ahead and shout out all your social medias that you want to be followed, because you deserve a follow.
Yes, you can follow me at Rufio_187, and you can see some of the work that Kyle and I have done at Draft Them, like we have mentioned. We're getting closer and closer to draft day. It feels like Christmas come early for some of us guys. Yep. I know I'm excited for it, and really looking forward to tuning in and seeing which direction this team takes us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Alex, thank you so much for coming on the show. Sorry we had to cut you a little short, but we're a little pressed for time.
It's all good. You guys have a good night. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks for being on. All right, and that was our good buddy Alex, and of course you can follow him at AlexRufio_187 on Twitter, and go check him out and draft him. We've been doing a lot of work there. All right, we're going to go on to our final caller of the night, and that is our good buddy Ryan. Ryan, thank you so much for waiting so patiently, man. You've been on here for over an hour, almost an hour and like 15 minutes, basically. Thank you so much for sitting all the rest of the callers and waiting patiently. So what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. How are you? It's been about 2 weeks.
Yeah. You wouldn't even, we can't really discuss those stories on air. But, it's been a little while since we've talked. Not a lot has happened, though, so I feel like that's a good thing. Haven't missed a lot. I'm sure you've been listening throughout the whole episode. It's okay if you haven't. Probably got a little boring at some points. But let's talk about these trade rumors. What are your thoughts on them?
I wasn't really sure, if it was real or not, but I hope it's true. I think getting the 33rd pick would be really big for us. Trading back is definitely a good option. It's going to suck if we miss out on Hooker and Adams, which is, more than likely if we trade back to 12. But, the draft class is really deep. We have so many holes to fill here that if we are offered the 33rd pick and the top of the 4th, which I think we're aiming for, if we can get Cleveland to budge, I think you got to take it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I'll ask the same question I've been asking other people. Who is your prospect at 12 that you're looking at?
At 12?
Yeah.
Well, if O.J. Howard's there, I'm definitely taking him. I don't expect him to reach 12, but if he's there, I'm taking him, no questions. Maybe Garen Conley. I've seen he's been raising draft boards. I think he's probably a safer pick than Lattimore. He stays on the field. He's pretty healthy. I like Joe's Hassan Reddick. I really do like him. Obviously not at 6, but at 12 it's a different story. I think he could definitely be a good pass rusher. And my favorite would probably be Charles Harris. I really like Charles Harris. The guy's got a 6-spin move, and obviously I think the Jets have needed an edge rusher. Obviously we don't really address that until rounds 3 or later. Hasn't been getting the job done, so maybe we at 12 you can pull you could pull off Charles Harris, and he could be a pass rusher for you for the next couple of years.
Now, if we did draft him, would we be getting rid of another Mizzou pass rusher that is currently on the Jets?
I'm getting rid of Sheldon Richardson either way, whether we get an edge rusher round 1 or not. I just think that I think it's time to, move on. He's just like a locker room problem. He's one incident away from a 1-year suspension. We just don't need that. Just cut the loss, trade him for whatever we can get. I mean, it's kind of sad because he's so talented, and just a few years ago he's a Pro Bowl type of player, but he's just not worth it anymore. Just try to get the best you can. It's possible we could keep him for 1 more year, but we messed up the situation so much already. We probably could have got a second at the deadline. So, aim for the 3rd, but if someone's offering a 4th, you got to take it, I think, at this point.
Now, what I'll say about possibly keeping him this year, knowing Sheldon Richardson and knowing this is his, last year basically, he's going to ball out. I know he wants that contract. I know him as an individual, well, not personally, but based on what I can tell from, the far distance of Twitter, he's all about the money. And if he's going to ball out, this is the year to do it. This is the year to earn that contract. Slap him with a franchise tag, trade him off, get a 2nd-round pick, because when he balls out and he doesn't get in trouble, you know, he's going to be a lot more valuable than he is, I think, right about now. So I think it might be smart for the Jets to possibly sit on Sheldon Richardson, let him play good this year, possibly re-sign him, or go and trade him for a second-round pick next year, or maybe a quarterback of some sort. Or, you know, just let me pipe dream while I'm at it, you know, quarterback for pass rusher. Speaking of that 12th pick, though, or continuing on with it, say a guy like Corey Davis or Mike Williams is sitting there, and a lot of people don't consider it a dire need for the Jets, but this is actually something Ben and I were going to dive into in the final 10 minutes of the show anyway. So since Ben isn't here, you'll have to take his place. It might be an upgrade. I don't know. You know, there are sneaky needs for the Jets. Running backs and wide receivers, something we're not really paying attention to. As much as I love Eric Decker, Quincy Newman, and of course Robbie Anderson, and then obviously Quinton Patton, who was on the show tonight, we don't have that true number one wide receiver like a guy like Brandon Marshall. Say Corey Davis and Mike Williams are sitting there. Are you taking him at 12 if we make the trade?
I would definitely consider it. I mean, I kind of agree with your assessment. Decker's not going to be here for that much longer. You know, I think the Jets are really trying to go, you know, that really young, full rebuild type of mode. Decker's coming off 2 major surgeries. We don't know if he's going to return to the player he was. And I just don't know about Quincy Newman being a number one receiver. I mean, I love Quincy Newman, don't get me wrong. Same thing with Robbie Anderson, you know, I think they're much better suited for roles number 2 and 3, you know, than putting them in the number 1 role. So at 12, I mean, with the addition of getting other picks, I would definitely consider them. We do need a number 1 receiver, and if you get Mike Williams or Corey Davis for, you know, Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg, you know, you're just helping them out as much as you can. You know, you're surrounding them with the best options possible, and I think that I would not mind that pick at all, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, another one of those sneaky needs that I was talking about, running back. Christian McCaffrey's sitting there at 12. Or maybe a guy like Dalvin Cook. Or even in the 2nd or 3rd round, guys like Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon. Are you taking them?
I have a funny feeling that Dalvin Cook's going to fall out of the 1st round. And it's definitely not talent-wise, but there's always, you know, a player each year that should be a 1st-round talent, and because of off-the-field issues or an injury, they fall. And I have a feeling it's going to be Dalvin Cook this year. So this is also why I want the 33rd pick so badly. And I would take Dalvin Cook at 33. No questions. I think that's a steal, and I think it's very possible it could happen. So that's also why I kind of really want this trade to go down with Cleveland.
You know, if my memory serves me right, there was another Florida State running back who was supposed to be a 1st-round pick, but fell to like the 2nd or 3rd round because of some irrelevant reasons in the long run, and he had a pretty good year this year, and his name is Devontae Freeman. I'm pretty sure he fell to the 2nd round. Might have been the 3rd, though. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody Google that. And they both went to Florida State, so they're a little comparable that way. That might just be a trend they have going on. But if we have that number 33, and say we get O.J. Howard, you know, if that number 12, or even Corey Davis or Mike Williams, and then you add Dalvin Cook. Yeah. Wow. Watch out for this offense.
Yeah, exactly.
God forbid the Jets get a quarterback. This team becomes, I think, playoff caliber if we get a good quarterback. That's why I wanted Tyrod so much, but, you know.
It's definitely, you know, it's crazy to think, but, you know, this is stuff that happens, and it could definitely fall in our favor like that. And just to think, you know, even if we don't have a quarterback this year, you know, I mean, I hope obviously Hackenberg or Petty works out, but the chances are they probably won't. But you're setting up for the future very nicely, you know, with maybe drafting a quarterback next year. You know, obviously we're going to give them a chance, but I'm just saying, no matter who's playing here, you're giving them great weapons to work with for the future as well, not just 1 year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you heard all of Jay's call. He was our first caller of the night. I don't know if you had called in at that point, but I know you have been on for a long time, so I wouldn't doubt it. He made the point that, an exception to the quarterback, this offense is really good. And I got to agree with him. But, you know, the quarterback to me is always the biggest part. And until the Jets have that, you know, I don't think we'll be that great. But just to outline the offense, an exception to the quarterback, wide receivers, Eric Decker, Quincy Newman, Robbie Anderson, then like 3 or 4 depth guys who could probably be 2 or 3s on a lot of other teams. Young, talented special team players that are effective. I like the wide receiver core. Still think we need a number 1. Don't know if we necessarily need it this year, but we will need it for the future. But I'm okay with that wide receiving core. We can work with it, right? I mean, I've seen Super Bowl teams work with less. I'll be honest. I think Decker, Enunwa, and Robbie Anderson is significantly better than Michael Floyd, Julian Edelman, and Danny Amendola. That's just my take, though. I'm not a big fan.
Definitely.
I'm not
Even
a big fan
teams
of
like Seattle, don't have the greatest wide receivers, still get there. This is definitely a very talented group. They're also young outside of Decker, so you've seen the emergence of Quinton Patton next year. So hopefully guys like Robbie Anderson take the next step too. It's a very talented wide receivers we have here, and if they can keep progressing and take the next step, then we're going to have a pretty good receiving core for a while.
Yeah, and like you said, all except to Decker, who's 30? Correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure he had a birthday a couple of days ago.
I think he just turned 30. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not old, but he's not a spring chicken. I think he's still got 2 or 3 good years left in him.
Exactly. His game never really relied on speed anyway. He's like a crisp route runner. So.
Yeah, which is something that's very good in the NFL, and I think that's why him and Marshall were a perfect pair. And then continue on with the offense. Running backs, we have some old guys down there, I'm not going to lie, but they get the job done. Forte, solid year last year. I'm not going to complain about it. And Bilal Powell was phenomenal towards the end of the year. I'm not going to lie. Probably the best running back in the NFL this past 3 weeks, at least fantasy-wise. I know he did a number against me when it really mattered the most, unfortunately. God, I hate when I lose in the playoffs in fantasy football. But off topic.
Sucks.
So those guys are getting it done. If we can add a young guy to the stable, whether it be a guy like Dante Foreman in the later rounds, who can come in and be a good guy for us to work with, let him develop a little bit more. And we even have a couple practice squad guys like Brandon Wilds. Remember him from training camp last year? He was taking some names. And then the offensive line. Kelvin Beachum, 27 years old. He was the number 4 left tackle in the NFL when he became a free agent at Pittsburgh. Last year, he dealt with some injuries, and, of course, he dealt with Blake Bortles. So that's never going to help the ranking or the determination of offensive linemen in the NFL. So we don't know what we have there, but I think it's better than Ryan Clady. Obviously, we have 2 all-pro level guards in James Carpenter and Brian Winters. Glad we have them wrapped up. Wesley Johnson, solid player. And then Brandon Shell showed some really good things last year. So really, this offense just needs a quarterback. And I think the defense is in okay shape as well. So we're in the search for that quarterback as usual.
Yeah, I mean, I think the defense has a little bit more holes than the offense outside of the quarterback position. The defense, I think it's very possible there could be 3 to 4 new starters, in the secondary from when opening day starts. Obviously Morris Claiborne's going to be one of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if we took a safety in the draft, at 6. That's very possible. And then we could take a corner in the first 3 rounds, and we could even double down on safety, so it wouldn't be crazy to think that we're starting a whole new secondary back there. Obviously, David Harris is leaving soon after this year, so we're probably going to draft a middle linebacker somewhere. And all the linebackers in general, they're all questions right now. Obviously they're young, Jordan Jenkins, Darren Lee, and Molden, but we definitely need edge rushers. I'm not really a big fan as Molden as other people. I do like him. Great guy, great story, and I hope it works out, but, I wouldn't bank on him. So I think that the linebackers have a lot to prove, and I just think, the defense line is pretty good, pretty set. Hopefully Mohamed Wilkerson goes back to his old self, and we'll be fine there. I like guys like Lawrence Thomas coming back, obviously Leonard Williams, Deion Simon, McClendon. The defense line should be fine. I think that the offense is probably outside of the quarterback position, which is obviously the most important position. Well, I mean, depth-wise, I think it's a better, as of right now, this moment, it's probably better than the defense overall.
Yeah, I think Jets are in a state of we have a couple solid pieces, and we just need to build around those, specifically Leonard Williams and Quincy Enunwa on the respective sides of the ball. All right, Ryan, why don't you go ahead and give us your social medias? You brought some flames tonight. I know we got a little bit off topic just talking about the depth chart, but hey, this time next week or within 24 hours of this time next week, that depth chart may be completely changed with that first pick that we have, number 6 overall currently. Could be number 12 overall if that trade gets done. So why don't you go ahead and give us our social medias, and thank you for coming on tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me on, Kyle. I missed most of the interview with Quinton Patton, but it was pretty good from what I heard. That was really cool. You guys can follow me at NY_JetsNation98. Have a good night, Kyle.
Hey, man, thanks for coming on, and thanks for waiting so long. All right, and that was our good friend Ryan, and we're going to start wrapping up the show. Ben has texted me. Unfortunately, he is not going to be able to come onto the show. Neither is David for other reasons. He had a pre-scheduled thing that we knew he wasn't going to be able to do. So naturally, no trivia question tonight. So you're stuck with me listening to my voice. I feel bad for you. Just thank you guys so much for tuning in. I guess we'll wrap it up. You can go ahead and follow us on all of our social medias. Let me go ahead and get the list because we have a lot of them. We like to stay well connected with you guys because you always give us the love and support. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at thejettake. Follow us. If you're a good Jet fan that likes to talk, you like to taunt us, you like to give us your opinions, we'll probably follow you back because we just love talking and, just sharing our thoughts with you guys, on what the Jets should do. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, go check out Gangrene David's YouTube. Obviously, our primetime producer, regardless of what Jay likes to call him, or I like to call him, he is the waffle producer from time to time. But, YouTube might be a big thing for the Jet Take soon. I'm sure you guys have heard I'm doing my own thing on YouTube in regards with the Jet Take now. We're calling it Takeoff. It'll basically just be me talking about, certain things, breaking news when we can't get an episode out. Just look for it on YouTube. It'll be webcamera based. We'll have a bunch of guests on, so it'll be fun. So just thank you guys so much for all your support as usual. Next week, not sure if the episode will be on Wednesday or it will be on Thursday. Or I'm sorry, not on Thursday because that's when the draft is. Wednesday or Friday. It kind of just depends on what we want to do before or after the draft. Probably be Wednesday though. But I think that's about it. Thank you guys so much for all the support as usual. We love it. We're starting to get really good statistically on all these episodes. And I'd like to thank Quinton Patton for coming on the show tonight. That was a fun interview. But nonetheless, we're going to leave you with the best chant in the NFL. And until we talk to you guys next week, let's go Jets. Let's go find us a quarterback, right?